Hey, I think that we're live on day 4 of, and I think I have to apologize in advance because one of a few things is going to happen. First, Brian, I never get this right. Casanega?
No.
It's Brian.
Casangina. Yeah,
Casangina.
Brian's fine. Yeah.
So one of a few things is going to happen. The live stream will freeze. One of the cameras will fail to work. Either one of the sounds will fail to work, or I will throw a somewhat large object out the freaking window. Or we'll all have a good time. It's hard to tell.
Hopefully it's that last one.
It's been one of those days. But let's make it better. So the topic of this live stream is how to make a lot of money as a coach or a mentor in this world and not have to deal with broke ass idiots. Facebook just disapproved an ad because of the use of the word ass. They're too sensitive, I suppose.
Yeah.
So Brian, what do you think the problems are that are separating good people from becoming a coach or a mentor and making money at it?
Well, as you know, I write a lot of copy for Mindvalley, and in doing the research that you do for copywriting, you know, what comes up time and again, I think in most markets is confidence, you know, and this is a thing that we have to battle against when we write a sales letter. You know, even when the people believe our testimonials and proof and they know that the system works, they don't believe that they can do it for themselves. So I think it often comes down to confidence, and that's a big issue. I think doesn't matter how much expertise you've got, and I think I understand this from a lot of your work, Tom. You know, people don't think that what they've got is valuable to sell or ask for money for.
Yeah, it's true for, you know, I hear tell there's people out there that have made, you know, what is it, 9 figures in this business and still think they suck at it.
Yeah. I just got
I know one of those guys intimately, actually.
Yeah, and the other side of that is like when you are a coach or a consultant, you can sometimes be worried about, and tell me if this is right or wrong. You know, you can be worried about, you know, your expertise level versus a client's expertise level, or like you may make, say, 6 figures in a year, but you may have a client who is like makes 9 or 10 figures a year, and so how do you reconcile that? How do I, as a person making 6 figures a year, give advice to someone who's making like a multiple of that?
Yeah, you know, Brian, I've found myself in some weird situations over the last few years, and you might get a giggle out of this. You know, I've gone through some, you know, ups and downs, you know, financially, yeah, but also mentally, where I would just kind of lose my compass and not know, you know, just not be in the game or, you know, doing the big things. But the weirdest thing is I would find myself on phone conversations with people making, you know, multiple millions. And in that moment, you know, the advice that I would dispense, at least this is the feedback, the advice that I would dispense, and this is from a guy at points living in his car. And, you know, I'd be talking to these, you know, people with, you know, $6-10 million business and giving them accurate advice. It's just like the Twilight Zone, you know, and I'd even call myself out on it right there on the call. And, you know, for some reason it worked out anyway. But yeah, there's all of the coaches that I've been speaking to lately, that's their second biggest challenge. The first one, of course, is finding clients, you know, that aren't
in the first place.
Clients. Yeah. And everybody has that thing. I don't think it goes away, even when you start making a lot of money. So the best thing that you can do is trust that you can add value to the other person, um, and give yourself a break. Give yourself just let it slide that you really can. And if it sticks with you, just ask questions. Look at the comments, look at the feedback. Ask the client straight out if they feel like they got value. And if you can't conjure it in your own head, then let the market do it for you. They usually will if you've added some value.
Hmm. So, like, if I'm starting out in coaching, let's take me for example, because I've had a couple of clients here or there, and I've got some other questions around this too. How do I communicate that? How do I first get into the mindset that what I have is valuable, and how do I communicate that to prospective clients and not broadcast clients? I'm talking about to people who are willing to invest in this.
Yeah. Brian, I think that this is going to be a lot of fun, you and I. And by the way, 5 minutes ago, I came onto the live stream because I committed to do it, right? Really, I was just pissed off at other things. And I just noticed that I'm not. It's getting better because we're doing what I love. And
this is cool. It's fun. Yeah.
So, I think that you and I are in a pretty good position to have this chat, right? And I'll bet it applies to a lot of different, things. Is you and I are both copywriters. We both make a fair amount of money doing it. And it's our job to denominate value. It's what we do, right? And it just dawned on me to bring up that point. For people in the marketing space, that are in this world of internet marketing, we know exactly how to denominate value for a product, right? So why are we exempt, right? So maybe the right answer is, when you're laying down the client my style is I like to ask, this is like a classic sales thing. I like to ask questions, dig into the psychology of the prospect, and then figure out how to serve them. Maybe if I had a Baptist minister who objected to ever using swear words, and possibly I could help him, I might wave off because I don't know if he would have a good experience working with me. So the luxury to say no to him, in the copy world we call that a takeaway.
Yeah.
Right. I would bet if we like laid it out, or if any decent copywriter laid out the coaching client closing process, it would be nothing more or less than a sales letter.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I've done a lot of direct sales, door-to-door, telemarketing, and stuff like that. I was never really that good at selling face-to-face, but I found where I am good, which is in print, in the written word. So that's why if you could close a coaching contract just by sending emails, then I wouldn't have a problem at all. So how do people get past it? How do people transpose their ability, say if they're a good writer, into a face-to-face conversation to close a client?
Brian, I'll tell on myself, and I think that maybe I'm pointing the finger in a loving way. I tell myself all the time that I can't close in the real world, right?
Yeah.
And because I believe it, it's true, right? I can close better than most in the written word, right?
Yeah.
I should point out at this time that I've never asked a woman out on a date ever. I'm 50. Every date that I've ever gotten was a referral, or in the old days back in the newspaper classifieds. So I closed dates with the written word.
So you've never cold prospected for a date?
Never asked a girl out in person, not once. So I tell myself the story. I suspect potentially you do too. But I noticed something when I'm in this passionate conversation in the pool. I'm using a real life case study that actually happened. I was talking to a prospect, and that prospect is here on this call tonight. We were just having a great old chat, and I was, getting to learn what made them tick, and where their upside was and what their pain points were, and I knew that I could fix it. So asking for the money was natural, right? It was just easy. So I think there's something to that, the match. Now, how can a copywriter who, and I'm going to specify, and I'm like not ashamed to do it because I'm talking about me, right?
Yeah.
So how can a copywriter who's pretty good with, setting up the whole pitch, and the whole pitch really is the same pitch. It's just got more adaptivity if you're in the real world. I love that little segue. How can you turn that into a close? You either have to lean on your unbreakable belief in the value, and yours and mine, or you have to put somebody alongside of you that can close. I think that's an option also.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting that you say once you got to know that person's problem, and then you knew that you could fix it. That's the match between you two, and that's what I find the best copy comes across with. It's the match between who's reading it, and you can use some different copy tricks to draw attention to things and try and close artificially. But when you've got that match between prospect and seller, that's when you get really high conversion rates in copies. So it works the same. If you've got that match like you did in that swimming pool, then it's a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, if I remember right, the actual close for that particular, and this is a $12,000 client, was something to the effect of, this is kind of a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
Or this is kind of a no-brainer, don't you think?
Yeah.
If we're going to diagram that particular close, there was some scarcity, because I originally turned down the gig. You were in the room. I turned down the gig. Legit, because I had a full-time, client. So but then again, it just brings it back to the fact that it's a sales letter. If your phone, make a list. I'll draw up a list in the next 2 days about necessary elements for a sales letter, and when I read it, I'll bet they all match to necessary elements for a sales pitch. Brian, I want to say this. We have Steve Lyman on the call.
Yeah, I was looking at his comment. Yeah.
Yeah, I posted his comment. I don't know if Steve is still in this bit. Oh, he's asking me if I can close on the phone. Steve, I can, but copywriters, as a general rule, will tell you that they have challenges closing in real life conversations. I don't know if Steve Lyman is still in this business, but I know for a fact that man has closed 9 or 10 figures. So I've worked with Steve directly, and if you're in that business still, post it in the comments. I'm a big proponent, Brian, of realizing that what you're really, really good at, and then also accepting what you're not good at, right? And who has time for building 100 skills? I'd rather build a future where I'm leveraging the hell out of the things that I can do, and then hiring out or partnering out the rest. So that's a valid option. I can't wait to hear if Steve is still doing this.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to hear from him. Just on that last note that you mentioned about finding the small number of skills that you're good at. I remember I was just walking about the house. The partner I had at the time was watching Oprah Winfrey's last ever show, and it was background noise until Oprah said, she said, once you find the place you're meant to be, stay there and develop. Like for her, it's TV. For us, it could be it could be the written word. So for some, it's speaking on stage. So like I say, I don't know. No one has time to develop too many skills. You want to focus on a few and be a specialist in that.
Sure. So
That's what I got out of that. Yeah.
I don't know that I've said this on one of my live streams yet, but I'll do the 4 rant, because I spent like a month once. I read Perry Marshall, read his book on 80/20, and he called 80/20 a law of nature. So I set out to prove that it was a hype statement, right?
Yeah.
You can't compare 80/20 to gravity, except you can. So I looked at every list I could put, hundreds of lists, to find out if that was an accurate statement, and it is. And it's also fractal. So if you looked at the 80% of your profits coming from 20% of your customers, and you had a lot of customers, you could look at that 20% that were left, and you'd find that 80% of the profit inside that group was coming from an even smaller percentage, so 20% of them.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say it's really 95/5, whatever. It's a lot of results inside a small group, right?
Yeah.
And I use the term 4 because that's 20% of 20%, right? So my shorthand for the whole thing is finding your 4-ness, right? Doing what you're in the top 4%, and everybody's in the top 4% at something, right? That's my belief. And here's the neat thing: everything, when you dig into 80/20, it's almost all an exponent and almost never an increment, right? So it's times instead of addition.
Plus.
And I won't go through how I've come to this or how others have come to it, but if you're willing to trust me, if you're in the top 4% at anything, you are 16 times the average value of that thing in the marketplace.
Wow.
16x.
Yeah, I've never done the math.
That's a great argument for hiring people. Hey, can you pay a personal assistant $200 an hour? There are situations where it's a bargain.
Yeah.
Mira Hart, don't listen to that. So, but yeah, it's spared everybody the 80/20 rant. But you just remember, if you focus on doing what you're, the top 4% at, and hire everything else out, even if it's expensive, you're gonna do good.
Yeah, interesting. What about when you finally get? What if you get your first coaching client on a monthly program, like $500 a month or something like that, for $1,000 a month? How do you keep that client with you? How do you build the value up so they don't want to cancel out when time comes to pay the next month's money?
Yeah, I think I have two good ideas for that, and one is human nature. Oddly enough, I haven't thought about the coaching market really at all until about a month and a half ago. But now that I'm in it, I'm learning so much about it. Like, I know that far and away the number one problem that every coach has is they can't find qualified leads that they are a good fit for. Number one problem. Number two is they can't close them, so they have trouble. The number three is right behind that is that the coaches don't see, they haven't proven the value to themselves. Erica Blair, pointed that out. Couldn't be more true. The coach needs to accept the value first before they can even get the client. But to answer your question, I think that that leads us to the fifth biggest thing. And if you're a coach, if you've been doing this for 20 years, type in the comment. By the way, comment, people. Really, this is all free. So I'm not asking for a nickel, but comments help with the whole page rank or, edge rank thing with Facebook. So, let's stay engaged. I think the fifth biggest thing is that the coach will give the client the advice, and then the coach won't push enough to get the client out of their momentum and get them to take it. So probably the biggest way to ensure, if you're on a monthly program, it's worth injecting here that if you're on a monthly program, I hope it's because you pitched and missed the year.
Yeah.
Don't start out with a monthly program. And here's a little, science from the Data Vault. If you sell a monthly program in the thought that you're getting a yearly client, so if you're $500 a month and you think you're getting a $6K client, you're not. You're getting a 3.5 month commitment tops, unless you're a super duper superstar, right? So think about the numbers there. I think getting the clients to take the advice and do it. Like as copywriters, I'm sure we all have a story like this. You write copy for somebody. Even if you have a marquee as a really, really good copywriter, you'll write copy for a business owner who's not, scientifically, he's at least not great at it enough to think he needs to pay a guy. Right? That's science. You'll write the copy and then he'll edit it. Or, tell you that it's a bad angle, and
give you feedback.
Right. Without testing it, more than once I've got up in the middle of the meeting and walked. Right. So I think coaches need to have a strategy for making the deal with the client, like probably from day one before they even buy. Look, I'm going to work with you. When it comes to pass that we both agree that an idea I provide is a good idea, you have to execute it. Like, take the steps to get the client to execute it. Because assuming that the coach gave good advice in the first place, and assuming that the result is measurable, let's add this in for people watching the video, figure out ways to measure your advice and see to it that the client puts those measurements into place. Money is the easy one. Flexibility. If you're a yoga coach, have people lift their leg to a spot on the wall. Just figure out ways to measure, progress and see that the clients can see it. Be diligent about getting them to execute. So I think that's the way that month-to-month coaches, or hey, even year-to-year coaches, because a lot of people will have a coaching program for 3 months or 6 months, and they'll sell it for $3K, $5K for 3 months. You need to think about your strategy in advance on how to build the re-ups, how to get people to take the next 3-month version or the maintenance version. Did that cover it?
Yeah, it did actually, really well too. So thanks for that. Erica had a comment there, something about coaches that I thought was interesting, about their mindset. Oh, here it comes now. Yeah, the mindset of selling and actually getting past that. I think we've covered that. Have we covered that?
We have, but I always think about Mike Gerber in a situation like that. And I did this example on a live stream the other night. When you're a coach, you are in fact a small business owner. There's really no way around that truth, unless you're working inside of a team where you have other people to do that. Yeah. You kind of have to get the sales part figured out. Erica, I'm just seeing I'm going to post her next comment in a minute. Yeah. You kind of have to get the sales thing figured out. Here's some more bad news. You kind of have to get the accounting thing figured out, and you kind of have to get the managing team members, if you have like assistants or providers, or you're working with. You have to figure out all that. That's in addition to you being good at your thing, right? Sorry, Sunshine. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
There are ways to get around it. Like if a coach thinks that selling is dirty, or it's like against what they're there for, maybe the coach needs to put their I think that boils back down to their value problem. You know, like in your heart of heart, and I'm not going to put this on you because I don't, if I would, but I frankly don't know if it's true or not. But I think that a lot of coaches, and they'll know in their heart of hearts if this is true, that maybe a little imposter syndrome kicks in, or they're a little ashamed to charge so much money for something they so naturally are good at.
Yeah, we all have a bit of self-doubt now and then.
Yeah, and you know, this other thing that's related to that is, you know, I don't know about you, but if I spend a week writing a letter, 5 days of that is, you know, angst and hanging out at the pool and letting everything percolate. And then when I actually write the thing, it's like, you know, a day or 6 hours.
Yeah.
It's fast.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have this natural skill that's just so easy in their own mind because that's their thing. That they feel a little guilty for, you know, charging their fellow man so much money for it. And I've worked with a few clients directly lately, and I just try to blow that up by saying it doesn't matter what it's worth to you. What is it worth to them?
Yeah.
You know, if you can get them the result that we had a coach at an informal party in Chiang Mai, Thailand recently, and she was a coach on how to have healthy relationships and approach sexuality and relationships for healthy reasons. And she was unclear whether, you know, she could sell a product for $500. And I looked at her and I said, listen, I've blown $2 million just that I can think of off the top of my head at having unhealthy ideas about relationships and sexuality. I would have, looking back, I would have paid $1 million for that course. Forget about 500.
Yeah.
There's always somebody who's going to place a very high value on what you got.
Again, it's one of those things that comes down to mindset, I think.
Yeah, just boiling down. Get really clear about that special gift that you got. There is something that you can do, and I'm addressing the listeners. There's something that you can do that is of a lot of value to somebody. So
about Eric, about that, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you because I've only done a little bit of coaching, so I'm interested in how you re-up people, renew people. It's I've had a newsletter in the past as well, and that's hard enough to get people renewed onto that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you know, I would bet like all of the natural answers that I would have to that question come straight from my retention strategy for online offers. And let's work through them because I have a feeling that they're all the right answers for coaches.
Yeah.
Right. So when you have somebody that tries to refund or questions the value, this is a digital strategy, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if it fits, right? When you have somebody that questions the value and they want to cancel, you know, a $49 a month digital package, right? My answer to that is I give refund bonuses. I give lots and lots of value when somebody asks for a refund, right? So how would that translate? When somebody questions the value, right? Pour it on. Put, you know, in that moment, you know, up the game. So that's in a refund scenario where they're not re-upping because they're canceling a refund.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Something that I do online also with continuity is I plant the question, is this valuable? Right? Tell me the value you got from this. Right? And so when somebody makes a comment or you know, they're in a mastermind or whatever, you know, the little innocent question, is this valuable? What's this worth to you? If it's in a membership scenario, you're kind of attaching the value that they receive from coaching to their identity. And if you're in a group scenario, they're making a public commitment to their results against the money.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of entangled with their identity. So getting them to got that straight from Jay Abraham. He's good at that. Just having people confirm out loud the value they're receiving. So then they kind of have to feel a little bit like an idiot to not do it anymore.
So it's like, coaching's really valuable. I've made tons of money with your advice, but I want to cancel.
Yeah.
I've made enough money.
I'm doing a remake of the Twilight Zone. This will fit. So let's see if we can think of some more. So digital re-up strategies. Here's one. Here's a digital strategy. When I build continuity programs, I write the menu, or I write the table of contents, and then I explore chapter 1 deeply in month, because I know where they drop off. They drop off in month 3.5, 4.
Yeah, that's true.
I do step 1 in depth in month 1, and I trickle it out. So I don't do launches really. I do evergreen, stuff that'll last as long as it lasts. So I'll cover, if say it's 12 chapters, I'll cover chapter 1 deeply in month 1. I'll cover all 12 chapters usually on the product that got them there, right? But deeply in month 1, chapter 2 deeply in month 2, chapter 3 deeply. So maybe a good answer for re-ups is you have to give people the value that they paid for, right? But maybe you have a 3, and let's say your package is 3 months for $5,000, just to have a number, right? Yeah. And maybe you call your shot with a 12-month curriculum, right? You give people what they paid for, on their initial 3K, right? But maybe you have it written somewhere. It's part of your ethos that you have a 12-module thing, and it's just a natural progression when they get to the end of month 3.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I just did the recently. I did a seminar called Life Book with a guy named John Butcher,
and my friend loves that. She loves that. Yeah.
And what they do is they have like a monthly membership thing as a follow-on from the event, and they get people to sign up for that. And what it is, they've got the first 3 months. I think they have a refund period for the first 3 months, but there's another 3 months after that where the real good stuff kicks in. So you've got a kind of evaluation period, but the real good stuff comes along of month 4, month 5, month 6. So you're looking forward to that as a person who, even you just tried out the evaluation period, you're looking forward to that. So you have to make the decision. If I drop out of this thing, then do I or get a refund? I'm throwing away that which I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but it's like the culmination of the whole program in that second period. So that's the way they do it. I don't know what their retention rate is, but that's the way they do it.
It's a retention. You know what? I'll make a statement, Brian. If it's you have second crack at it. I have a high-end client on the call, so I'm going to give her private first rights to the idea that I'm about to say. And then if it's you, great. If it's one of the listeners on this call, hit me up, because I'm about to give out a really good product idea, and I'll help do it. I would love to see somebody do a product on $12 million tips to get coaching clients to re-up. That product would sell, and I'll work with somebody to that end. And really, I'll just pull from. I've had over 1 million paid continuity members. So I'm a split testing fanatic. So I've tested a lot of stuff to boost retention in the digital world. I would be willing to bet that every single trick that I've learned will translate to the coaching industry.
Yeah, so I've probably got a few as well.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
and then,
No, I'm
she just,
sold. We're both
she
sold.
just, yeah, she just revealed herself as my, unnamed big funny client. So yeah, that's we've been fishing around for a good front end, a good, front end digital product for the coach, and that's it. And by the way, one neat thing about people that buy that, they're existing coaches,
Mm.
and they're not. Beginners are great. If you're a beginner on this call, wonderful. I describe myself as Mother Teresa sometimes and Tony Soprano sometimes. If you're thinking about getting into the coaching business, I honor you and salute you. The statistics are 70 to 90% that you're dreaming. Be the exception. If you're watching this video
Yeah.
now. But existing coaches with a problem, just from a financial service standpoint, they're a great market to sell to.
Yeah, I was just thinking about your product idea. That's where a good ask funnel comes in. You have the ask quiz on the front end. You segment the existing coaches from the beginners and the ones who have clients dropping off, and that one you sell the product to, and it's direct match, message to market match.
Yeah, and you just threw that as a softball, didn't you? to get me started on Ask and Adaptive. By the way, I'll put myself up in front of the firing squad. You have put your eyes on an adaptive copy set today.
Yeah.
Does it look different or potentially slicker than your everyday Ask campaign?
I haven't looked at it in depth, but it looks a lot. It looks a lot different. It looks more flexible and more. It's kind of like figure hugging, like a good dress. Like a good dress should be.
Yeah.
And that's hugging the market there. It really gets into the contours exactly into the problems that the market has. So. It's a lot different from the ask method, and I'm glad to be finding out a bit more about it from you.
Yeah, my primary goal when I write this, I haven't written one in a long time. This has been a lot of fun. My primary goal is that look on the person's face when they get their results and say, "How did he know?
Yeah,
how did he know me?" It's going to be a lot of fun. The tech behind it is a little different. With the Ask system, I haven't built one like this, so this is only hearsay. They build a different page for each potential variable.
Yeah, they do.
And we do it a little differently. We build a universal letter, and then we inject the relevant. If-then programming stuff. We inject the relevant stuff in the relevant place in an otherwise universal letter. For those listening, and you'll like this because we're talking about a mutual friend. I've given up trying to pronounce his name, but our mutual friend Nick is going to do one of these with me, and we're going to talk about the technology behind Adaptive. By the way, it just occurs to me that we've been talking about Adaptive, about how sleek, whatever. For people that are just hearing it for the first time, Adaptive is writing internet communication, sales letters, emails, whatever, with a set of known things from the user. You may have gotten it from a quiz that you did, and then you get to keep that data forever when they answer a question. And you may have pulled a little data from their browsing session, like what time did they see it? If they saw it at 3 a.m. in the morning, it's fair to call them a night owl in your copy. So that's like the 10-second version on what Adaptive is.
It's a step up from the ask method. And tell me if this is right, because I was originally interested in this sort of thing way back in about 6 or 7 years ago, at least, when Eben Pagan had a software which did something like what you're doing with Adaptive Copy. It was old Windows software. I don't have it anymore, but I think it basically did that kind of thing. it asked you a series of questions on one page, and then the next page it did the adaptive copy thing. So
Was that Evan or Frank?
no, it's
Are you
Evan.
thinking? Oh, was it Frank did something similar also. Yeah, I looked at Frank's, and Frank is a good friend. I love Frank. It may be that if I recall right, he leaned on the first name and then one or two things. I want to go 6 steps deeper.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
pretty. The text stuff is getting pretty simple to do. For example, our mutual friend Nick has a piece of software. He's in beta, so I promised him I wouldn't mention it by name
Yeah.
anymore. He only needs like another week. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
probably by the time he does his call with me, his product will be live. He's made the whole process of fully adaptive text super simple, right? So that's as good as out there. You can have a coder program it in 2 or 3 hours. Now, in a week or so, you'll be able to have a user interface and do it yourself. So if they said this, then put this part in the letter. I'm also working in the Bat Cave, this
Yeah.
other little, pretty cool thing where it builds a fully functioning VSL that adapts itself on the fly to all the users' answers, including their name and their city.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of next. How to apply that to video.
Oh yeah,
Without it.
it's
Yeah.
it's just tech. The tech was about $30,000 to build, and
Yeah.
the real bump in the road was because it's not really a single VSL. It's 40 or 50 VSLs, but
Yeah.
the user experiences a single video. That's what they see. In the background, it's auto stopping and auto advancing, which is kind of a taboo with iOS. Android's fine. iOS doesn't care for videos that execute
Okay,
themselves.
yeah.
So it took us a lot of time to get
Interesting.
around it, but we had.
I remember I was checking out a company called Wrapped Media who did this kind of a similar sort of thing with video, where you could build a quiz right in the video where you click on one part and then it would auto advance to another part of the quiz depending on your answer. The only problem, that platform, it was self-managed. You have to pay about $10K a month, and the person watching it needs a lightning fast internet connection, or else the video just dies. So their tech wasn't anywhere near what it sounds like Nick is.
You know how we got around that? We found that problem and we addressed it. There's words that I use with the video version of Adaptive, and one of our words is called the recipe, right? So they go through the quiz, and then when the quiz executes and the VSL, video sales letter is built, we then call that the recipe. It's, video A33 meets into, A1004, whatever. That the recipe is known, so it has to, and the videos are not rendering. That's the key. The videos are all already rendered. Like playing a video and rendering it is a big difference.
Yeah,
rendering is a lot of horsepower. So the recipe is assembling the video in the background. So it's pretty much the same speed as streaming any other video in practice.
So how? Let's say if I'm a coach and I want to use a platform like this, how relevant is this stuff to coaches? How do they use this in their marketing?
Well, they hire me.
Yeah, for a start. Yeah, so that's the first thing they do. The second thing they do is hire me. But yeah.
Well, so to use, if we're talking about the overall advice that we're giving tonight, just watch all the live streams. You'll get a bunch of value. As far as using Adaptive in your marketing, there's a few ways to do it. I promised him I wouldn't name it, but watch my live stream in about 3 days, and it'll be there. So there's a software suite out there that has training, I'll do some content for Nick just because I love him. So there's a platform out there that you can do this yourself. If you can do ClickFunnels, you can do Adaptive with Nick's new software.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little more on the brain power because it's a choose your own adventure type thing. You have to put a lot more thought into things. You start running into questions that didn't exist before, like will all 5 variables still flow right in the confines of the sentence that it sits in, right? So, but there will be an online solution like within a week that people can use. The other way is to, hire a competent copywriter, preferably somebody who's worked around Adaptive or Ask, which you and I really. Ryan Levesque himself, if he could afford them.
Yeah, we can afford them.
We're like 3 of the guys in this industry that we're kind of like the go-to guys for that particular discipline, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So option 2 is to hire a competent writer, and then who's had experience with custom flows, Adaptive, and then get it hard coded by a programmer. There are some good reasons to do that. Data security, these are all good things. I don't advise most people to do that. And then the third option is, and I'm aware that I promised not to pitch anything, and I won't. But in about 6 weeks, that's going to become kind of one of those set it and forget it things. And it's a platform that I'm working on right now. And for all the cynics that are listening to these videos, if you're saying to yourself that I'm putting out all this great content so that I can get people excited about my new platform, you're fucking right. That's why. So yeah, there's 3 ways, and there's benefits to all of them. There's a reason that somebody, if you're trying to knock down a number 1 offer, like on ClickBank or in CPA, and you don't, unless you're a world-class copywriter yourself, you're kind of a moron if you don't hire a great copywriter, or for that matter, a great artist for the on-page graphics, or a great programmer, or a great data. If you want to play the game super big, there are people who do know how to spend money and get good results. And if you're trying to compete with them without that mindset, you're going to have an uphill battle.
Yeah, so he who can afford to spend the most money wins.
Well, yeah, and that's most likely true. The statement, he who pays the affiliates the most wins, that one's absolutely true. And great earning.
I'm just about to start an affiliate program for my course, so that's something that I want to really get into, getting affiliates out there.
Well, let's talk about the course. Look, I promise people no pitching, but tell us what it is and where they can find it.
Well, they can find the rundown of the chapters at funnelinfluence.com/special. So that goes to the course platform. I haven't got any fancy sales letter or VSL up yet, so there's no hard sell at all. Like I said, I'm just setting things up, so it's still a kind of just floating around there. I've sold it on a couple of webinars, but it's not really been a focus. It's all about the experiences that I've had building funnels for Mindvalley, building Ask funnels. It's all about the way I write these funnels and do the quizzes, and also covers building the tech. I mean, I'm about to re-record the whole thing anyway, so to better audio, I actually got a decent mic now, so I can actually re-record the whole thing. So I haven't really been focused on selling it all, but yeah, just set up the affiliate program with a view to that. So that's funnelinfluence.com/special, because the course name is Funnel Influence.
Very cool. All right. if you remember, Brian, go ahead and add it in the comments once we're done with the
Sure.
video.
Yeah.
So some people might want to go take a look at that. See there, everybody, that was, in fact, a pitch, a little, but it's painless.
Yeah, hopefully it wasn't too much. But but that's like as a budding coach, one of the things I need to work on is my my balls, if you will, when it comes to making a pitch for someone. So I don't want to hold back when I'm going to re-up someone or close the client for the first time. I don't want them to smell any blood in the water or any fear at all. So I think that's one of the things that a lot of coaches probably find, especially when before they build up their confidence in their closing skills. So would you say that's true, or am I just a weirdo?
No, I think it's true. One more kind of trick dawned on me, and I'll share it because I've actually seen some good income. And it's not a trick. It's just, well, maybe it is if you engineer it, right? But it's still not bad in my view. I have a personal policy when I've been doing most of I've been getting most of my clients, and I've been selling most of my courses. I'm just getting back into courses with Facebook posts, with native Facebook. Mm-hmm. Thanks to Mitch Miller, shout out, because he's making it really possible. And I always put a little addition on each of my posts. It says, look, share this with somebody who needs it, and it's usually about 10%. They're fairly expensive programs, so 10%. And then, if you step back and look at how that situation plays out, it's kind of hard to say, nice, grand things about yourself. But to the extent that it's true, people will go out there and say those things for you. And if it comes to be that there might be a person out there with whom I have either no friendship at all or very little, right? And now their good friend is coming up to them over coffee and telling them, oh yeah, there's this guy, he's this, he's that. And that relationship is all, so it's like you're piggybacking on an existing relationship. So, if that works out right, you have clients coming at you already closed. So, and then the debate of, giving affiliate commissions, if it's a good idea online, I can't think of a situation where it's ever a bad idea.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's another way to get that. It's helped me because I have the same closing challenges as everybody else. It's helped me make actual dollars. Thanks, Carolina.
Interesting. So, what else have you got for us, Tom? What's something that you hate about that you see that coaches putting out, whether it's a budding coach trying to market themselves online, or established coaches doing something you don't like?
Here's an easy one. Established coaches, it's hard for an established coach to do something that I don't like, because if they're doing it and the market is rewarding them, it's probably valuable. So they're all in the clear. The two, I'll give you the nice one.
Yeah.
The nice big problem is coaches that don't even exist in the market because they can't get past their head. These are the coaches that they're not just invisible, they're non-existent because they haven't made the jump into business at all. And these are people with gifts. These are people with the exact answers that clients need, right? So that's a gripe, right? And then to a lesser extent, the coaches that are making a living somewhat, who are underperforming their value because they don't really believe in their own value. And for argument's sake, these people have it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're doing all the disservice-y type things to their market. Look, if you don't make yourself available to a CEO who thinks that if you're under 5K, you're no good, If you don't have a way for him to spend $5K, and for argument's sake, you are his answer, then you're disserving the hell out of that client. He will not get the benefit of your counsel, right? So that's the nice one. People being right in their own head, and I suffer from it too. People being right in their own head about the value, but my really, really fun gripe. And see, now I can channel all my anger from Facebook ads earlier.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Is these 20-year-olds in Lamborghinis, right? First off, if you see, I know I'm going to get an email from two guys who are like 20-something, and the Lamborghini's there. But more often than not, they're either standing next to somebody else's car, or they rented it. They rented it for the day. And here's what else they did. Because coaching and mentoring is the flavor of the month out on the internet, I mean, it's like what's hot right now.
Yeah.
High ticket programs are what all the internet marketers are selling. So when somebody buys a program about how to be a big ticket coach, and that program has like a step-by-step guide on how to do coaching on an industry that they have no idea what they're talking about, there's a word for that. It's fraud. Right? Now, the exception to that, look, if you buy a course about coaching and you sell it successfully, first off, you should be teaching people how to sell it successfully. That's an authentic skill. Bravo for taking action, Mr. 20-year-old. I have to give you that, right? But if you're teaching a curriculum from something somebody else wrote and that you don't understand, maybe the client's even getting value. So, yeah, we can have a debate there, right? But, Mr. 20-year-old in Lamborghini, you've got skill at something. Maybe it's Pokemon. I'm being age inappropriate with my rant. But don't teach stuff that you're not an authentic, somewhat authentic authority at. Drives the business down, gives coaches a bad name. And if you take a picture next to a car, make sure it's your car. So yeah, that's my 20-year-old. Hey, and for all the coaches that are having self-worth issues, right, and they don't know if they're worth it, there are 20-year-olds out there in either their Lamborghini or somebody else who don't have shit for value, but they're making a lot of money anyway. So if you're legit and you're having issues around your own value, just think about that.
Yeah, interesting.
We promised ahead of time that this was going to be 18 to 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, I think we've gone well and truly over that, but there's still 6 hardy souls hanging out with us.
Good for them. So, let's invite the users. I'd love to see
let's
more,
get some comments,
participation and
comments. Ask some
comments.
questions.
And we're down with some questions. We're good to do some questions if somebody wants to, ask something. What's up, Tom Tellman? I was hoping that I would get to see you on. How are you? If people don't know Tellman, he's like, you know Tellman, Brian?
I know of Tellman. He had a nephew of someone. I've worked with a nephew of his or something. I can't remember what his name was. He worked with Shakir Hussain. I forget his name. It's at least a year ago now, but yeah, I know who Tellman is. Yeah, I just saw a picture of him recently. They went to see Bill Clinton, and I think I saw that picture. Yeah, it was Frank Kern was there, and Mike Filsaime and some others, and Tellman was in his pinstripe hat or pinstripe suit. It was great. So yeah, Tellman's aces. Tellman, I'm doing well. It's nice to have you stop by. And we'll put out the call for, we're coming up on the hour, so it's a good time to wrap it up. But if somebody wants to, slide in a last minute question, we are there for it. Yeah, we can. I'll hang around on Facebook to have a chat after we finish up as well. If people want to leave comments, so write them down and we'll get some answers. Yeah, and as we wrap, I want to say this, and I want to give the viewers
the opportunity to. So I'm gonna post this. Talman, there is whatever I want to do as long as I'm giving value. So, but I'm working on it. I have a strategy. I'm looking for a good vape, but I'm not going to give that. You know, that's me. But Be Live TV, Talman, I love it. I tried so far. I tried to do. Talman, I tried to do the whole OBS and you know, Miracast and all that with the mixers, and you know, you press 3 buttons and you're online. It just on this show, Brian, you know, it sent us to a wrong page to go live. We were 5 minutes late, so I think it's in beta. But yeah, it's hey, if I had to figure out all the OBS weirdness stuff. History has shown that it just wouldn't get done. So I like BeLive.tv because it works. It's probably limited, but it works. So, you know, again, more questions are fine. But I want to say this and give the viewers a chance to, you know, push back or if you have an opinion. They say that, you know, doing a call to action is a bad idea, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, you know, I suspect that we've given some value, right? I've had more than one person tell me that, you know, they bought a 297 course, you know, a month ago, and some of these live streams are better than that. No money, no pitch, really, no hidden motive, other than the fact that, you know, sooner or later I'm going to talk about my coaching program, and if I've earned it, then there will be a path for you to come and be a part of it. But outside of that, there's no price tag. So I'm asking formally, you know, towards the end of the call, we've given the value, you know, show up in the comments, say some stuff, give us some feedback, like it, you know, and then if you really can say that you've gotten some value, share this one and share the ones in the future, because we're not beating up your friends or your subscribers. We're being good to them. Right, so it's a good thing if you're in it. You know, if it's in your heart, go out of your way to share it, because you know the whole Edge Rank thing on Facebook. This is how you get play. This is how I'm going to go out and get Frank Kern to pick up the phone for a change. Right? If I can say, hey, look, 6,000 views. Right? Yeah, you know, it's business. So if you got some value, you know, show up and do the like and comment and share. And if you didn't, tell me that too, and we'll make it better. So that's the end of that rant.
I think you'll be just fine, because for me, just being on the call here, it's worth more than some people's entire courses. Like if I was to pay a few $100 for a course where I've got this kind of information, where when it comes to not only doing well in coaching but also adaptive copy, that's 2 awesome things that I've got value for. So that's 2 courses. It's worth 2 courses, this Facebook Live.
Yeah, and you know what? It's just so spectacularly cool that I would do. Not only would I do this for nothing, I am doing it for nothing. But for those of you that weren't on this live call at the beginning, I had Facebook do a stupid thing to me earlier. I was trying to build a page so I could promote these live casts from the page, and then buy some ads for it, and then they wouldn't let me edit my own, because of ass, you know, you won't have broke ass clients. So I guess they objected to the word ass, and then they wouldn't. I'm the admin. I just created the page. I'm the grand poobah, and they wouldn't let me edit the post. It said I wasn't. I didn't have permission. So I was I was totally pissed off when the call started, and the first time some kind of real value came up, I was just over it. And
yeah.
So
it's funny that it is for me too. It's like, I find it like kind of like what Google did, like back in the good old days of Google, where you could run Google ads straight to an affiliate link. That was a whole different world, and that was that was people's entire businesses. But they wised up, and Facebook's doing the same thing. They're probably reacting quicker. The thing they're after is the big dumb money of corporations. They don't care about us spending our $5,000 or $10,000 a month or $20,000 a month on Facebook ads. They want to attract, the people who are spending $500,000 a month on Facebook ads. They're not going to put the word "arse" in there. They're not going to do all this ugly direct response stuff that they hate so much. They're just going to pour money in, not care about the results, and that's where the big money is. Like direct response marketers like us, we want to get a bang for our buck. The big dumb companies, they just throw cash at it. That's what Google did. That's why Google AdWords has changed so much, and I think Facebook is catching on to what they're doing as well, throwing out the little guys, it's getting the big corporations in.
You're making me smile, Brian. You know why? This secret project that I'm working on.
Yeah.
For the coaching industry, you just reminded me that's just one more of the secret perks.
Yeah.
Is because it's going to involve a national buy. In other words, we're going to aggregate the lead process and the client process for coaching. And if I have guessed right and projected right, I don't see any reason why we can't do this for I don't know, all of them.
Yeah.
And one of the side benefits of that is that we'll do a centralized buy at the front. So yeah, we'll get to have the $500 or $600 or $1 million a month buy, and then Facebook will listen.
Yeah.
No, let me say that better. Facebook will listen to my Facebook expert, because it sure as hell won't be me.
Yeah. I would lose my temper too easily, I think.
Well, yeah, but if you're spending $500,000 a month, I haven't done this with Facebook directly, but I suspect that you'll get your butt kissed just a little. They'll at least pick up the phone when you call.
Yeah.
So that's good. All right, I'm not seeing any new questions, so I'll be around and Brian will be around. So comments, questions, we're happy to help. And I think that this. Oh, by the way, Brian, I'm going to apologize because the way my screen is set up, I'm looking at you in the eye. It's just what I do when I'm talking to someone and you're there on the live stream. And it dawned on me earlier that for me to look you in the eye, I have to look like Donald Trump looking away from that German lady.
Yeah, I noticed you. I figured you were looking at me directly then.
So if I apologize, then maybe it makes it better. But so we're gonna wrap up. We're just over an hour, and look for possibly another one tonight with Gail.
Yeah, go for it.
And 2 seconds on Gail is the live event industry. If you're putting together a seminar or any type of live event, she has done it for any top guru that you could name, and she is far and away the best person on earth at making those happen. So that's going to be another live stream that you're going to want to be around for. It might be tonight, might be soon, or it might be tomorrow.
I'll stay tuned.
Yeah. All right. So we'll sign off and say, thanks everybody for coming. Don't forget, engage, comment, like, and share really if you got some value. So that will end it.
Yeah. Thanks for everyone. And thanks for having me on, Tom. It's been a real honor. I've learned a lot. And I'll be hanging around for a while to answer any questions and have a bit of fun on Facebook.
Dynamite. My pleasure. All right. Talk soon, Brian, and talk soon to everybody else. Bye.
Bye.